good afternoon, everybody. I'm Reverend Ira J. Ackery, and to my left is Reverend
Gregory Seal Livingston.
And we're back at you for another season and another session of All Hands on Deck. It's been 13 weeks, but we're back at it, Rev.
Love to be here, and a happy new year to you, Dr. Ackery.
Happy New Year, man.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, sir.
Looking forward to a lot of work and getting back out here as an advocate for the people.
Because last year was wild.
It was wild. Woo!
My gosh. So this year is going to be even wilder.
Today, our first day back, and there's a whole lot to talk about, but we're going to try to keep it simple. We're going to talk about, you call it what?
Burke and the Bears.
Burke and the Bears, baby. We're going to talk about Alderman Burke, the Dean of City Council. 50 years of calling the shots, and we're going to talk about the Bears, Chicago Bears, and what made them lose that game. I mean, who is really at fault? We hear a lot of different things. You want to open up? What's your thought just talking about the mayoral race? How many candidates is it?
Well, right now I think we're down to, what, about 14?
Okay.
14 candidates. You know, and this race is interesting, but for me, this race is still not a Harold Washington moment. I don't see any great reformers in there as of yet. And if they are, they aren't speaking up and letting it be known, because we have a division. We have the pre-Rahm resign candidates and the post-Rahm resign candidates. And so the ones that are pre are saying we had the courage to run while he was still declared that he might run for mayor. And the ones that came afterwards are basically all of the political insiders, more or less. So it's an interesting piece.
Whoa.
And the voters have to look at that. Why did the political insiders wait? Because are they people, or are they party people?
You are incredible. Your analysis is spot on. Well, today what we're going to talk about specifically is how this scandal with Alderman Ed Burke has impacted the race. Well, we already know of the candidates that are running. We have people who are classified as insiders. We have Tony Preckwinkle, who is the president of Cook County Board. We have Susanna Mendoza,
State Controller.
Yeah, State Controller. And then we have Gary Chico, who has received the endorsement of Ed Burke. Susanna Mendoza was married in his house.
Yes.
Tony Preckwinkle has been a recipient of so much money and so many campaign donations. And then Bill Daley has been, associated with this family for years.
His father was the alderman before him, and old man Daley. Oh yeah, they've been in bed together for a long time.
A long time. It's much more than 50 years.
Yes, sir.
Because as you said, Burke's dad was an alderman, so that's right. 60 plus years.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's go by. Starting off, I think that particular scandal has put Chicago in a position where there is no longer a front runner. Now, mind you, front runners mean exactly what they mean. That means that they are the ones who are early on favored to win or to be the top vote getters, the ones who are polling real good. And that being said, many people were making Tony Preckwinkle and Susanna Mendoza the front runners. Right about now, I think this has thrown a monkey wrench in the deal. What do you think?
Big time, Doc. Oh, without a doubt. You know how it's this tendency that we have to say, oh, this person is the guaranteed winner. Nothing can stop them. And all of a sudden, the totally unexpected happens with, if Ed Burke would have run for mayor, he would lose power. So this man is so powerful, and folks we're not thinking of, and so for it to be him, I mean, he is, as you said, the dean of the aldermen. He is like Chicago's, I would say, #1 heavyweight.
You got that right.
And so now when you have Tony Preckwinkle getting these contributions, Susanna Mendoza with her friendly relationship with the Burke camp, you have Gary Chico who has the endorsement, and then you have Bill Daley who is being strategic in terms of he's laying back because he has enough money that as time comes down, he's going to just flood the airways, radio, television, and everything else, and he has that daily name. And but the Burke scandal is getting deeper and thicker. He's been charged. He's been forced to resign as chairman of the finance committee. I mean, all this is huge. What does this mean? Because there's so much that's tied into him.
You know what gets me though, and I know we're here to talk about how it impacts the mayoral race, but there's so many hypocrites in politics.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it amazing? Where in the heck did all of this courage come from? Now all of a sudden you have aldermen getting up, demanding certain things. You have the mayor talking about he's going to have something on ethics, and then he's going to also take away his policing privileges, his detail, and all of that.
Yes.
Oh, why now? I mean, if he needs police protection at any time, he probably needs it now.
Now, that's right.
Because he got all these politicians shooting at him.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, isn't it typical, and that's part of our problem, that we have this corruption in our city. You know, all last year, actually, we worked feverishly with the whole theme of ending the tale of two cities.
Yes.
And that theme carries over into 2019 because we see that these politicians, these people that we elect to office, are not showing the courage to step up and to change that which needs to be changed, which is why we as the people took to the streets. You know, we voted at the ballot, and they disrespected the ballot,
Sure.
so we voted with our feet and with our bodies. And now we got Ed Burke and these mayoral candidates. You know, people, you know, getting the right to vote is one thing, but voting right is another.
You got that right. You got that right. You can join us by calling in. We want to hear from you. The number is 312-738-1060. Today at the Leaders Network, and I want to just challenge those of you who are interested in social justice and want to be a part of an organization. We welcome you to come check us out every second Tuesday of the month. You can find out more about our organization by typing in Leaders Network Chicago.org, and every second Tuesday of the month, 9:30 to 11. Many of the stakeholders of the community come together. It's a faith-based organization, and we're committed to civil rights. Today we had as our special guest Dr. Willie Wilson, who is rising in the polls. And his great philanthropy and his beautiful heart and love for people has allowed his candidacy to have some seriousness to it,
Sure.
especially in the midst of all of this scandal and the piling on of all the corruption. It's pathetic. Today he was at our meeting today, and he lashed out. Man, he really did. He called those people who came in after Ron announced that he would not seek re-election. He called all of them cowards. What's your response?
Well, Willie is the outlier. Willie is the non-politician. He's not a Burke. He's not a Emmanuel. He's not a Preckwinkle.
Sure.
You know, he's not any of those persons like a Daley. He's the outlier.
Right.
He is, for many people, the person that you would least expect to be a serious mayoral contender, but he is. And on top of that, because he's not afraid to speak out, he has the personal financial wherewithal, because you need money to run for office unless you have a Harold Washington moment where the people are sparked and inspired, but you need money. And since Willie ran that first time, so he got his feet wet, now he knows what he has to do. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, people were shocked that Trump got elected.
Absolutely.
So you never know. We might have a Dr. Willie Wilson, the gospel-singing businessman, as the new mayor of Chicago, man. That is not an endorsement, just an observation.
Man, oh man, oh man. You know what? Listen, he loves you so much. I hope he doesn't make you the new police chief. You know?
He could appoint me to. Yeah, forget it, man.
No, I know he can point me on. He can put me on the toll board.
Is that right?
I want to be on the toll board.
Is that a paying position?
I don't want nothing. It's not. I did enough free work.
Man, come on, tell the truth, Doc. The gas station doesn't take hallelujah.
You got that right. 312-738-1060. You can tell we haven't been together in a while, so we having a good conversation. You guys are getting a chance to peep in on the conversations that my good friend and I have all the time.
That's right.
Yeah, and let me just tell you this. Toni Preckwinkle, she already had some baggage to deal with. She
Queen Sugar.
Taxwinkle, all of that kind of stuff. And she initially started as a person who was speaking out against the powers to be. I think it was a big error to become the head of the Democratic Party and then try to run for office as a progressive. I guess she did not know that Ron was going to step down. And so, but now she's stuck with a label and she said, oh my God, I should have not accepted it. Then she could have positioned herself better as a progressive. But you can't run as a progressive if you really are the leading person over a bunch of party hacks.
But that's part of the problem. They disrespect the people again. Is why they don't know, because we forced Rahm to resign. We shut down Lakeshore Drive. We went up Wrigley Field.
There wasn't no parade.
There was no parade. I got arrested at O'Hare, by the state police. They still looking for me. I escaped. I'm just kidding. But the people, the people's power and opinion have been ignored, neglected, and underestimated. So then when this did happen, because believe me, Rahm didn't want to not run, but we were impacting and hitting commerce and that money, and he had to go, and that surprised everybody. It was as big a surprise as Burke getting hit by the FBI with these. And so, here they are. You can't have every position and do everything well. Chicago is too big for that. Chicago's this ain't Mayberry, and to some of our younger viewers, Mayberry, Andy Griffith Show and everything. But it is something that you're gonna dominate all these things. Mm-hmm. I think she's the first person to do that since, I think, Richard J. Daley.
That's right. Now, how about this? Mm-hmm. The Hispanic candidates, and people call Gary Chico a hybrid because in many communities they think of him as being a Caucasian.
Well, they call him a high Hispanic.
Yeah, I heard about that.
As opposed to a low Hispanic. Yeah, man. Well, how they.
That's politically incorrect. You can't really be saying that.
Well, I take it back.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
But here it is.
Yes.
With Gary Chico and Susana Mendoza, the two Hispanic candidates really took a punch. They really did.
Without a doubt. And then on top of that, the Latino, our Latino residents here in Chicago, they have issues with being jailed and being unjustly confined and the like. And Susana Mendoza is known in Springfield as Friar Mendoza because she really believes that capital punishment, put them in the chair, gas them. Yeah. And so, and the thing is, for the black and brown populations here in the state, because there have been so many injustices, as exemplified by one of the great cases that we worked on, the Jason Van Dyke and Laquan McDonald and things like that, it's frightening. And then with Gary, his political insidership, because now you have him on one side and Paul Vallis, who was his boss, basically, on the other.
Now look at it. Now people talk about so many African American candidates. What is that? You got Preck, you got Dorothy Brown, you got Willie, you got Amara, you got LaShawn Ford.
That's it.
Okay. I thought it was, and there's an African American guy, Neil Sayers or something.
They haven't bumped him off.
Bumped him off. Okay. All right. And so now you got Lori Lightfoot.
Lori Lightfoot, right?
That's 6.
And you had her at the meeting. Was it last month? Leadership Network.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 6 blacks. Okay. So that vote's going to be split many ways. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as the other side of town, there are a lot of white candidates running. People are not talking about that.
That's right.
But you got Vallis, you got Gary McCarthy.
Don't forget Gary.
Don't forget about him.
CPD superintendent.
Yeah,
that's
because and then you got Daley, and you got the Jeremiah Joyce guy.
That's right.
The Joyce guy.
Kosler.
And so it's amazing. I don't know how this is going to work out, but
who has the ability to get on the 5th floor and impact the 2nd floor, the city council, for the good of all Chicago?
The person who is committed to putting forth the vision to end the tale of 2 cities.
Say it, Doc. Say it.
We need that kind of person. I have a person that I'm dear friends with, and I have a great affinity for, and I love him dearly, and I want him to do well in this race. But I have not endorsed anyone,
Right.
because I want to make the case that we need every candidate talking about equity and parity in education. We need everyone talking about police reform.
That's right.
We need trades to be back in the school, and we need trade unions to have equality in
That's
it.
right.
We have a list of issues that has to be on the forefront of any mayor that takes the seat
That's
on
right.
the fifth floor. That's what I'm all about.
Right, this is not a popularity contest. We need some real, serious-minded strategizing. We need to see these people take these issues
Sure.
and show us, brick and mortar, nuts and bolts, how we can work out these situations. And what they're going to have to do is not be traditional politicians. I think that anybody like Harold Washington did, who is willing to step outside the box and engage the community, so what you get swung on, so what you get hit. That's part of the game. But so many of them are afraid to say the wrong thing because they're treating the election like it's a corporate exercise, as opposed to, the heart and soul of what it means to be an American, what it means to be a citizen, and what it means to be a resident of this city of Chicago.
I want you to keep on, man. You were doing good with that one, man.
Well, we tag team preaching, so you it. but really, Doc, I mean, with all these candidates involved, everybody's kind of basically going with who they like. But are they going with who they like based on the issues, or they just kind of resonate, with these certain individuals, or the people they know the most? Tony Preckwinkle's been in Chicago politics as an alderman and everything else for many years. Daley, well, that's Chicago, right? I mean, that Daley dynasty.
Sure.
Then you have Chico. Well, he was around. It's Mendoza, she was around. But nobody really has that kind of name recognition. Then you have Dorothy Brown, but she's kind of bringing up the rear.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, sir.
At this meeting, I always say it like this. Mm-hmm. I was at Marshall Hatch and Cy Field's meeting this morning.
Look out.
Yeah.
Look out.
And Deborah Williams' meeting.
My.
And at that meeting today, man, I pulled people to the side, and I can tell you, I talked to at least 5 to 7 people, and I asked them, had they chose a candidate for mayor yet? It's only 6 weeks away, and people were telling me they were unsure. I won't say any names, but there's a very prominent person that I was very surprised he hadn't chosen anybody yet. He told me one thing he knows for sure, he knows who he's not going to vote for. And that was rather surprising.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well,
I mean, if Tony Preckwinkle becomes mayor, then John Daley probably becomes the Cook County president. So this is all, not just all in the family, but it's all in the party, right? Or all in the machine.
Sure.
And so, is Chicago tired of machine politics? Who is the anti-machine candidate? Who are the anti-machine candidates?
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. And now, Ed Burke, I'm not a betting man. I haven't bet all year. Y'all catch that later.
Look
but anyway, Alderman Ed Burke is not going to jail. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Number one, because there's millions of dollars in his political war chest.
Yes, sir.
Number two, he personally is a millionaire.
Totally.
Number three, he may have never sang in the choir at that Catholic church. Well, he's going to be singing from now on, because he's going to have one of those wires, and he's not going to give up. He's going to give up whatever it takes. You know why? I know, because you see how cold-hearted these guys are?
That's
right. They turned on him.
He knows where all the bodies are buried.
Woo!
And his wife is an Illinois Supreme Court justice.
Come on! And do you know how many millionaires this guy helped make?
That's right.
People owe him favors.
That's right.
Do you know Gary Chico is a millionaire? He was made
by Burke. And see, and a guy like Burke, who was a former Chicago police officer, his daddy was in that game.
He was.
And they were trained by the man, Richard J. Daley, in terms of machine politics. They're not going to get in anything without having an escape plan.
You got that right.
He already has that already set up. You know what I mean? So, but he's not going to come out and tell the papers. And that's why people always, amuse me. Why would you, like with the war, why would we tell the media what we're going to do in terms of war and let the enemy know?
Let me tell you something.
Yes, sir.
You know, somebody told me, oh, wait, don't say that. You know, George Ryan was governor, and he went to jail, and Rod Blagojevich was governor. You're talking, I know they're white, and we've been blinded by the principles of white supremacies. These were just regular white guys.
That's all, right.
Yeah, I mean, they were not multimillionaires. Ed Burke is a multimillionaire, and he was... Honestly, he's a gangster. I don't care what nobody says. I'm gonna leave it right there. Ed Burke is a gangster.
Juice, baby, juice.
You better believe it.
That's right.
Okay, we got to say 2 or 3 things about that football game. How did you enjoy the game? Did you see it all?
Yeah, I saw the entire game,
Okay.
and you know, I thought it was a good fight. I mean, you're playing against the Super Bowl champs.
Sure.
You know, so they're coming back to regain their title and to protect their title. And the Bears with a Cinderella story, who went from being one of the worst teams to being one of the best teams.
Sure.
That incredible traditional Bear defense.
Yeah.
Dick Butkus and Brian Urlacher come out to open it up. That's
Yeah.
Bears defense. Khalil Mack is their heir to that great defensive tradition. But I'm going to tell you something, man. If my barber cut me with the razor one time, I say, okay. If he cut me with the razor 2 times, I'm like, look, man, I can't be using this. And then if I go back to him, he cuts me 3, 4, and 5 times, Doc, there's a problem. There's a problem with me, and he don't need to have a barber's license cutting folk. So why is it that you got a cat that can kick the ball and miss extra points, hitting the post and everything else?
What's his name?
Parkey. Cody Parkey.
Perfect name.
CP.
CP.
Can't punt. Come on, man. I mean, that man got out there, man. He got nervous, and you know they called a timeout. But you're a professional. They're paying him $12 million, $9 million guaranteed. My barber don't make that much. You know what I mean? When you get paid that kind of money, what if you had a surgeon who made mistakes like that all the time, or you're a dentist? Would you keep going back to that dentist if every time you go to him you worse off than when you started?
Let me say something. We only have a little time, but I know you made a great case about he had one job, he was paid well to do it, and he blew it. But let me just tell you, first of all, the offense, they could share some of the blame. How many games you plan on winning when you perform like they perform on Sunday? How many games are you going to win? They were horrific on Sunday. They really were. Number 2, yes, this man choked, but he should have never been in that position in the first place. You know who lost the game for us? I don't care what anybody say. Management.
But Doc,
he should not have ever been in that position.
But here's the point they didn't talk about, where you haven't heard a whole lot of talk about, you know, as well, is that Matt Nagy, he has done a tremendous job as a freshman coach. He's done a tremendous job.
Yeah.
But when he went for that 2-point conversion, you know, that was risky. Because had he gone for the extra point, we don't know if Parkey could have made it, though, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
We would have had a tie game.
That impacts the coach's decision when you don't have confidence in your personnel.
We would have had a tie game, and the game would have went into overtime.
Sure.
And we would have beat them. You know, because I'm telling you something. That Tariq Cohen, my black Jewish brother, give him the ball, man, and watch out. Because he's the one that opened it up for him, man. He reminds me of Devin Hester back in the day. They didn't want to punt to Devin Hester kickoff because you didn't know what he was going to do, man. But the Bears should not have lost that game, and they should have lost that game.
You can't have it both ways, good Reverend.
They playing the champs, man. You got to knock the champ out.
You got to knock the champs
Ain't no TKO.
out. You got that right. So, when we cast the vote, who do you put the blame on for that loss?
Well, I got to tell you, I got to put it on Parkey.
Okay.
And management. You know, I got to say, because you're right about management. Why did you all keep him? Y'all could have got some cat, some soccer player from anywhere in the world that could have kicked the ball better than he had. Right now, you know, on the north side, they have a competition that if you can kick that 43-yard field goal, you get free beer for a year. Now, I don't drink beer, but I'm just saying on the north side, you know, they're getting down with that, man.
All right. Listen, friends, it's been a great joy to be back with you. It is phenomenal being here on Cable Access Network. This is the local CNN.
Come on, Doc.
Got that right. And we have the premier activists and civil rights leaders of our town coming in. Reverend Gregory Seal Livingston, National Field Director for Rainbow Push. He's a pastor. He's pastored multiple churches in this city. And then, even more so, he has been a civil rights leader, but I think his greatest claim to fame lately is the Lakeshore Drive shutdown man.
And O'Hare, I got arrested at O'Hare, but the Lord rained down at O'Hare.
We need to put that in writing.
Around the next day.
Yeah. I think we're going to put that in writing because we saw the hand of God move. That what happened? What you did out there with 12 and a half protesters? What you did with 12 and a half protesters proves that there's a God in heaven, you know?
Well, I heard that Jesus had a meeting one day and he had about 3,000 people show up for the meeting. And when he told them what they had to do, what they had to go through, and then when he bowed his head to prayer, he looked up, it was 12 left, Doc.
You got that right.
Come on, man.
Actually, you had 33 protesters.
Look out.
That's how long Jesus lived.
Come on.
And 12 of y'all went to jail. Woo!
Look out.
Disciples.
Look, HBO had me wired out there for Vice.com. And the things that some of those people up there were calling me, that the producer in New York called me and said, can you believe they were calling you those names? I said, of course. I grew up here, you know? And so it was, you know, for us, the Tale of Two Cities is real, man. We ain't finished.
We got a lot of work to do, and this is just the beginning. It's 2019. I feel like a young man.
And a nice beard. He got a beard, y'all. He had it last time. You know, let his beard, his wife let his beard grow out. Come on.
I'll tell you more about that.
Oh, look out.
See you next week, everybody.